Hi, my name is Christina Chong, and I'm founder of Renaissance Admissions Consulting. I formerly worked as an admissions officer for the DDS program at NYU College of Dentistry, which has the largest dental school program in America. I gained a lot of insights reading thousands of applications and learning what makes a good personal statement for dental school. Today, I'm going to talk about the major do's and don'ts in writing this important essay that is key to presenting your candidacy for admissions to a DDS or a DMD program. So U.S. dental schools, for the most part, use AADSAS as a centralized portal to process dental school applications. AADSAS stands for Associated American Dental Schools Application Service. There is a main application that you submit that includes a personal statement. For the personal statement itself, you get 4,500 characters maximum for this essay, which includes spaces and letters. That is about 750 words, depending on how long the words you use are, and that totals about 1 page. So I'm going to start with the don'ts for the most part. First, don't make it sound like dental school is a default. I didn't get into medical school, so I guess I'll do dental school. They don't want to feel like it is your second choice. I read a personal statement once when the candidate said they did not like blood and that being a doctor would be tough for them, but dental school wouldn't involve so much of that. Unfortunately, that won't be convincing to the dental school admissions committee. So it has to sound like you really want this career path. Another thing to keep in mind is don't talk about external motivators for dental school. I want to have a lot of time for my family. I want to make a lot of money. My parents are making me do this. Those are all things that you should not mention in your personal statement. Admissions committees want to believe you're doing this for the right reasons. Sure, it's fine to feel this way, but don't say it in your application or in your interview. Keep it to yourself. Make it sound like you would do this career anyway, even if it meant you worked long hours or didn't make a high wage because you love it. Another thing to keep in mind is please don't say you love both art and science. I read that phrase so many times in reviewing dental school applications. It's very cliche and overused. Try to be creative in the way you present this and be original. I remember one particular essay stood out to me because the applicant described receiving a Play-Doh drill and fill kit as a child, which came with a model of a patient, a bunch of toy tools such as a drill and mirror and toothbrush. The applicant became engaged in making molds of teeth, using the toy drill to dig into cavities, and making pretend braces. That provided a stunning visual of the fun the applicant had with this potential path and made it really interesting and endearing to the admissions committee. Another thing to keep in mind is don't focus on the negative. Many applicants have had difficult experiences in their lives. You should talk about them enough for the committee to understand your background and where you're coming from, but always frame it in a way that ends on an uplifting note, that you've worked through it and it won't impact you in a way that will detract from being able to focus and succeed in dental school, and emphasizes how much you have to contribute in the future. And you also should keep in mind, do not repeat yourself. The admissions officers read this application in one sitting. It's not like they read half of it and then decide to come back to the rest later. So make the essay have fresh material. We're not saying the same things you did already earlier in the application, or expand on things you had said so that there's more context to the backstory. So when you're reading a book, there are many different chapters. So keep in mind there's different characters, different stories intertwined. You want to make it to seem cohesive and comprehensive. Also, don't just go through your resume and list your experiences in your essay. That's not what the committee wants to see. They need to hear the story connecting all the different parts. So if a resume is like a table of contents, giving a guide to your life, the essay is like the actual plot of what happens, and it connects the dots for the admissions committee to better understand your entire story. Another really important thing to keep in mind is don't be dishonest. The things you say in the application need to be true. Be honest, tell the truth. Don't make up things, as it can haunt you later. Dentistry is a professional degree. Some dental schools do require a background check in order to complete enrollment, and it can be challenging to get licensed as a dentist if you have a criminal record. Also, don't wait until the last minute. You want to spend the time on the essay so it gets the attention it deserves. It can mean the difference between getting in or not. Even if writing is not your favorite thing to do, it needs to present yourself in the best way possible in the essay. Think what happens when you take a picture of yourself. You want it to be flattering, so you make sure the lighting and angles are good when you take the photograph. So the essay, in the same manner, also needs to highlight the best parts about you and make it so that when the admissions officer reads it, they're really excited about your potential candidacy. Here we transition to the do's for your dental school admissions essay. Do put spaces between paragraphs for easier reading. There are sometimes I read an application and there are no spaces between the paragraphs. It makes it a wall of text and very hard to read, especially if your admissions reader is on the side where they might need reading glasses. So it's very, very helpful to do this. Do have a clear beginning, middle, and end with transitions in your essay to build and seem like a complete document and tell your story as well. Another thing to keep in mind, do make it sound like you're sure about dental school. The admissions committees are actively weeding people out. If there's a clear moment you knew you wanted to be a dentist, explain it. Go into detail about a particular experience that got the wheels turning for you and made you realize this is a great path. Do make the story about you. You are the starring character in this show. You're the one applying, not your parent who always wanted you to be a dentist. Or you're following in the footsteps of your relative, etc. Make yourself the focus. It needs to sound like you as well. It shouldn't sound like your pre-health advisor or your parent or somebody else. It has to come across the way that you would speak. Also, do sound passionate about the field of dentistry. Give concrete visuals of things that you like to do. Show, don't tell. Let the writing demonstrate what you're talking about so that the person can see it as they read and visualize it. Instead of saying, I love art, say, I've always enjoyed making models and shaping things out of clay. Or I would spend hours carving sculptures out of wood or sculpting pottery. It really helps to have sort of the context of why you like to do this and picture exactly what you're talking about. Do also make this a more general essay. Every dental school reads this AADSAS personal statement if they're on the AADSAS application. So you don't want to say XYZ school is my first choice, as you have to be very careful. Because if it's a different school that's reading it, they're going to realize you're not that interested in their school. So you really want to avoid that. Keep the main application essay general, and then for the supplemental applications that many of these dental schools require, you can and should go into depth about why that school and give very specific reasons. The size of their program, the specialty offerings, the types of innovative technology that their labs have, etc. So please keep the main application essay general, and then in the supplemental essays, you can go more into each specific school. Also, do make sure your personal statement captures what you want to convey in a few paragraphs. These can be extremely boring essays if you're not careful. Make it seem fresh and exciting in the eyes of admissions committees. What is important to you? What are the experiences you have that will make you a good dentist? How will you contribute to the field in the future? Put together memories and a story that makes it compelling, and that when the admissions officer reads it, they are feeling that they want to take a chance on you and provide an interview. In the end, the admissions committee needs to feel drawn to your story. It's important to spend a lot of time crafting this essay so it gives you the best chance of telling your experiences and showing why you would be a great contributor to the dental field, so that they want to move forward with your candidacy. If you have any questions, please reach me at www.renaissanceadmconsulting.com. Thank you so much, and best of luck.